I'm Guy Mackenzie, and I'm here in the Batcave for another McMullen production. And I'm very pleased today to have a legend in Cornwall, Freddy Zapp.
That's me, thank
Freddy.
you. Legend, that's a great word, isn't it?
Freddie, you grew up in the early 60s and you were listening to bands like the Dave Clark Five, the Who,
Yeah.
the Rolling Stones, and obviously you wanted a career in music. So when you saw your careers officer at school, what did he advise you to do?
Well, the careers officer, I told him that I wanted to be a drummer in a band.
Right.
I think that was the in thing, I suppose, but listening to music,
Yeah.
and not being helped along, I suppose, by any careers officer just coming in saying, what do you want to do? They kind of shook me a bit because he said, you weren't going to do nothing with your brains, you'll do everything with your hands. Yeah. Not really sure what he meant by that.
So Freddie, what did you do?
But I did, sorry. I did go on to do cars.
Okay. And so you had your own business, I think, in cars, is that correct?
I had my own business. I went into the rag trade first of all to pick up a job to earn some money, and then went into a garage business for 3.5 years. Learned it with 3 fantastic guys, Londoners, outstanding work, vintage work, all sorts. And then I worked for another 2 garages and then opened my own business in 73. So I was just 22 then. Makes me old.
Yeah. Freddie, but your life completely changed in 1985. What happened then? What happened to change it?
In 1985, my cousin was, I'd always collected records, because my sister worked in a record store where you could go in and hear all the music in the cubicles. My mum worked downstairs in Campbell Radio, then Radio Fusion. But I had a chance to go and DJ for my cousin. What happened was, as they say in Cornwall, the DJ couldn't do it, so they said, "Oh Fred, it's my 21st birthday party with a mate and we want some punk music. Yeah. Can you play it for us?" I went, "Yeah, of course I'll come along and spin it for you, mate." And I end up doing that, borrowing some decks off a landlord in a pub. Next thing he said, "Do you fancy coming and doing something in a pub?" And I went along and did something, and well, as you know right now, why you're interviewing me is because the rest is history. It's done me well.
It certainly has. But you also, about a year later than that, you bought a very unusual car, didn't you? What was that and why did you buy it?
Well, I thought, what am I going to get? This is getting to be 2 years still in my garage business, which I did cars for 20 years. And I had to have a crossover period to make it change whether I was going to go into entertainment or not. So my cousin said, "What are you going to take it around?" I said, "I don't know." He said, I know there's a hearse. And I went, "Yeah, that could be good. Yeah, that'd be a great image." Yeah. So I bought a 1965 Zephyr 6 hearse because it had the big fins on it. So I sprayed it immaculate. It was beautiful when we finished it. And then I used to dress up with an Undertaker's jacket on and do a rave from the grave with Freddy Zapp.
Which I remember. And Freddie, you also became an escapologist. You also perfected lying on a bed of nails as well, and you became a fire eater. I mean, 3 incredible things that I wouldn't want to do, but tell me about being a fire eater.
Well, the fire eater first came along actually, because I met a guy called Dave Covey. He was a magician, he was a fire eater, he did the bed of nails. Great guy, super nice guy. Became great friends with him and very educational for me, rubbing shoulders with the right people I lucked out with. And Dave Covey said, "I'll bring down my fire sticks and I'll show you how to do it, see if you can do it." Anyway, we went and bought some other fire sticks afterwards, but we used his, and he said, you're a natural, Fred, you just done it right away." And I went, "Yeah, does that mean bad things?" He said, "No, that's good. You weren't afraid of the fire and you just do it like so simply." So that was great. And then I had a straight jacket because I went with the Raving Looney party, so that was a good thing to put me in. "Don't be stupid, be a smarty, go out and vote the Looney party." That was their slogan. And when I run for the general election, which I suppose you're going to talk about in a minute, I had different things to say about that. The fire eating, that was great. The bed of nails, well, I used to lie on 666 nails because I was defying the devil's sign, of course, the hearse, the horror image, and that was kind of nice. I had 3 girls stand on me. There was 30 stone in weight. That's an average. I didn't pick them up to weigh them, but kind of got the gist. "You're 8 stone." "No, I'm not." And they give me a slap. So that was always a bit of fun. And what was the other one? Yeah, I think that was it, wasn't it?
Fire-eating bed of nails and Escapologist. Yeah.
Oh, the Escapology. Yeah, I saw a guy called the Great Budget.
Yeah.
Nice guy again. These guys are so nice. They're out there making a living, and when you get to talk to them, they're just genuinely nice people. I've been lucky to rub shoulders with them, as I said earlier. And Bodget, he was doing juggling, great juggling, and spinning plates, and he did escaping out of 25-foot chain, Siberian shackles out of 2 mail bags. So I thought, I want to do that. Anyway, of course, me not wanting to do it in a small way, where he had 25-foot chains, I had 45-foot chains. And he used to escape out of it. I loved it. That was great. And I had 2 mercenaries. Yeah. I've got to tell you, sorry. I had 2 mercenary guys. They said, we're going to chain you up. Nobody escapes from our stuff. Yeah. And when I come out of it, they just picked me up and went, this guy's brilliant. And I was like, I thought he was going to throw me through the window. Somebody said, you're the Peter Pan of music, Fred. I said, what do you mean by that? They said, crack another joke like that, you'll be going through the window.
Well, of course, you already mentioned the Monster Raving Looney party, but when you met Screaming Lord Sutch,
yes,
he changed your life dramatically because you actually stood for election as a Monster Raving Looney, didn't you?
I did, yeah. The long and tall of that is I had a friend who was a great mate of his, and he said, oh, Sutch is coming down, I'm the backing band, do you want to come down for it? I said, yeah, of course I will. Anyway, I went to Penzance and I had my hearse all immaculate sitting on the seafront, and David Sutch had to be picked up from the station, so my girlfriend at the time and the guy in the band's wife went to pick him up in the minivan. He's coming across the front in the minivan, he went, oh, look at that hearse, because he owned a hearse. Yeah. And he said, oh, I love it, I'd love to meet the guy that got that. She said, it's my boyfriend. Yeah. So I met him, we talked, and he went, you're perfect for the Looney party, you're crazy, you're exactly what we want, you're loud. The rest is history again. Colourful. I'm getting hot here, do you mind? Sorry,
no, Freddie, but
jacket on.
Feel free, this is the
jacket on.
And it's your own home, so feel
jacket
free.
Off. Very patriotic. Got royalty in my blood. I've got royalty in my blood. That's because I got stung last year by Queen Bee.
Okay. And very quickly, you were elected onto Cornwall Town Council, and also you got onto Redruth Town Council at the same time. And in fact, my then business partner, Lee Ibbotson, actually lost his seat as a result of you getting on. But that's history. But just
moving... he was a nice guy too.
Yeah.
I knew he told me a few words. I think the last word in one of them was off.
Yeah, something like that. But then, Fred, in 1992, nice. You auditioned for something else, didn't you? You auditioned for...
Well, first of all, the elections. Right. I ran for the 2 elections at the same time, Cornwall and Redruth. I got unopposed on the one in Redruth because there was certain... I'd run a couple of other elections, town councils, and people kept dropping out, and in the end, there was only... was there 3 seats or 4 seats? Yeah. Well, anyway, because I was left there and unopposed, that meant I went on. So I became that. That was a week before the one in Cornwall, because it was a week before it dropped out. So I ran for the Cornwall one, and then I got elected. So one was unopposed and one was elected.
That's
but I was on 2 councils.
But of course, nobody wanted to take you on. That's why they left you on unopposed.
Well, because I was 25 votes away from winning the seat the last time I ran for the Redruth one. Okay. And I had my business in Redruth. People knew me. And hopefully I felt that I was running for the right reasons.
Absolutely.
The Raving Looney party was putting a little bit of craziness into the elections and a little bit of fun. Lots of things that they did put into their manifestos did come to they came about in the end.
Yes, they did.
Sorry.
And then in 1992 you auditioned for a radio station, didn't you? Tell me about that, and how did that go?
Well, I also, with Screaming Lord Sutch, I ran for 3 general elections as well.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
You did know that, right?
Yes, sir.
One was Sebastian Coe against me.
Right.
Well, he was running against me, so I had a lovely photo shoot done with the 1920 running shorts and the working boots, and I had all my 45 records in my hand like that, and I said, I smashed more records than Sebastian Coe, even if they are 45s, and that made them laugh. So, and he was a real nice guy. I had a good poster with me sitting on a toilet seat with my hat, my legs up in the air. Then it said, you get no crap if you vote for Zapp. And I had all the mugshots of all the other candidates on it. And it said, it's my party, I'll lie if I want to. And he phoned me up and said, Fred, He said, can you send me one of those posters? I said, yes, I can. What do you want it for? He said, I want to put it in behind my toilet door. It'll make people laugh. Super nice guy.
Yeah, he was a nice guy. And
Freddie, he still is.
He still is. And coming back to BBC Cornwall, what happened when you auditioned for them?
Well, obviously I was running around in a hearse.
Yeah.
And you got to imagine the image. I'm doing the 50s, 60s and 70s really.
Yeah.
And playing the stuff of the day. You know, you couldn't keep all the doors open. But my favourites are the 50s, 60s, 70s because it's earned me a good living. I can't complain. Up to date even. So I had one hearse, and with the horror shows I needed more equipment, so I bought another hearse. I had a Zephyr 6 hearse, 1965, with the fins. That was nice. The other one was a Zodiac 6, so 2 black hearses. So I had his and hers, didn't I? But it worked.
And you did a comedy show later. I have to point that one out. But,
yeah.
But Freddie, you auditioned for Radio Cornwall. I'm going to try this one again. And you actually got on, didn't you?
Yeah, well, very so many questions. My brain is going all over the place. I do apologise. Radio Cornwall. Well, I wanted to say about the hearses because it's going to drift me into my Radio Cornwall. But with Radio Cornwall, Jerry Clark was working there, and he said there's a guy going around. He's driving around that hearse. He loves his music. I think it'd be great to bring in as a celebrity. It was going to pick up MPs, councillors, anybody that was a celebrity from the rock and roll and so on and so forth. Yeah. And Jerry said, well, bring in Freddy Zapp, we'll have a word with him. So Jerry said, you fancy coming in and fronting a show? And I went, yeah, that'd be great, wow. It's a bit out of my league, you know, the BBC, Aristotle rhymes with bottle, glass, arse. It's a little bit posh, but anyway.
We'll translate that later.
Yeah, that's right. The rain in Spain stays mainly on the plane, basically.
Yeah.
My word, he's got it.
Yeah.
But I went in to see the manager. They said, come in and see the manager. And I'm sitting down with the top guy on BBC Radio Cornwall. And he was just talking to me and asking me what you like. And I was telling him about the records and what this did and how I lived my life. Basically, what I'm telling you. The next thing, he said, you got the job? And I said, what do you mean I got the job? For the day. He said, no, I like everything about you. Okay. And I'm like, wow. That did set me back. I'm like, crikey, this is... I've never stepped in these shoes, like, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I went in and did the show, and I've been there now 25 years. February the 12th, 2017, 25 years I've been there.
That's fantastic.
I love it. I love it. I'm so proud to say that I work for the BBC. You can say 3 little letters, and it means a lot. You can say BBC, MTV, Sky, SKY. Those 3 letters say enough without saying anything else. And I'm proud to say I work for the BBC.
And Fred, you've met some interesting people, you've interviewed some interesting people since you've worked for the BBC. The first one I wanted to mention was Screaming Jay Hawkins, who had that fantastic number, I Put a Spell on You. Tell me about meeting him.
Well, it was such a funny thing. I was using records from the Crazy World of Arthur Brown, who I met later, and had a great big conversation with him. Nice guy, hard-working guy, still fantastic energy at 69. And then it was Screaming Lord Sutch, who I used a record from his Jack the Ripper, because I did Jack the Ripper act. And then Screaming Jay Hawkins, I started my show with I Put a Spell on You, that great big baritone voice. I went up with a mate of mine who was in a rockabilly band and rock and roll band. We went to London, we went in to see him, and afterwards thought we'd try and get in to have a word in the end. Yeah, okay. Went round to the side door and he was letting in the press and everybody. So kind of flashed me BBC badge. Yeah, come on in you two, and that's the rest, stay out. So we lucked out being the last 2 in. So Screaming Jay Hawkins kind of looked around the room. I had my big American jacket on. And he could see the other guy with slick back hair, rockabilly, you know, that rock psychobilly type of thing. He said to the other guy, he'd come over to us and he said, you 2 guys stay there, I'll see this lot, we get rid of them, then I'll have a chat with you. And we just stayed there with him, and he exchanged phone numbers, give me his ex-directory, because he, once again, used to drive a hearse around. And had a bit of a wild sort of lifestyle. And he said, come over to America, because we was talking how I'd been to America lots of times. When you're down in California, ring me, we'll go out, we'll party.
Well, he had 70 children, didn't he? Is that correct?
Well, they try and say it was something like that. It's like a Matlow with a going into every port, isn't it, I suppose.
But so in fact, the long and short of it was he gave you his personal telephone number if you ever came to California.
Yes. Yep.
But
trouble is, by the time I was going back to America, he died in that meantime, which was very sad. I was totally gutted.
Yeah.
The number of people I picked up their phone numbers, and you just can't drop tools and say, I'm going, I've done all that.
That's right.
And then they're gone. That is such a shame. Emile Ford was another guy.
Absolutely. I was going to ask you about Emile Ford, who had the great hit, What Do You Want
What
to
do you want to make those eyes at me
Thank
for?
You.
I want to take you on a slow boat to China.
Yeah. How did you get on with him? What sort of a person was he?
He was they've all been an education, because obviously I'm asking them, what life was like, what it was like, and they were telling me, like I'm telling them what I've been doing, same sort of thing, exchanging notes, as you say.
Yeah.
But he said, it was hard going. He was he was very professional. He liked things to be dead right. I know a guy that worked for him and said he would always deduct us money if we played a bum note.
Oh, right.
Because he had the ear for it.
But he was very fit, wasn't he?
He was very fit. He would do 300 press-ups when he came here in 1992. He would do 100 in the morning, 100 in the afternoon, 100 in the evening before he went on to a booking to keep himself looking straight and slim. Good-looking guy and sounded exactly like the record live. Wow.
And he also had a lot of sugar in his coffee, didn't he?
Yeah, I say, do you want a cup of tea or sugar? Coffee, he would go, have a cup of coffee, 6 spoonfuls. 6 spoonfuls! So I used to buy him big bags of sugar every Monday or Tuesday, I think it was, he came here. And he used to bring in cakes. He used to bring in like 4 strawberry and cream cakes. And do you want one? We go, no, you're right. And he'd eat the 4 of them, which is fantastic, no problem. He was a great guy, told me a lot about all the people he worked for and what their lives was like, which educated so much more. When I think of a record, I try and remember those things that they tell me,
And just one other person I'd like to ask you about, completely different. You met Max Bygraves, didn't you?
Real nice guy. Real nice guy. Once again, they've all been good. I got to say that. And Max Bygraves was on stage. I watched him do a performance. I didn't think it was going to be my cup of tea, to be fair. But I think he entertained the crowds absolutely brilliant. 10 out of 10. Superb. He entertained them, he told jokes, and he reminisced. And I was working with older people at the time, and a couple of little things that he said, he was relating to their lifestyle. I lived a little bit of that lifestyle, and that helped me along with some things that I said. And made me look into different angles.
And he took a lot of time speaking to people afterwards and making sure that he...
Daniel O'Donnell and Max Bygraves spent so much time with their audience afterwards, taking photographs, talking to them, signing autographs, just hanging around, and everybody gone.
Okay.
He'd make sure he got to them all. They was brilliant. And like so far as jokes, I'll just throw in a quick line that I thought of afterwards, from the time that, well, the little joke goes like, my mum and dad went through a marriage breakup in the early days after the war, when you had to buy your clothes in the Army and Navy stores, and I was the only kid going to school dressed up as a Japanese general. That's the sort of joke that I picked up from working and seeing Max Bygraves and making my brain go into a different area. Like
Fred, I've got to say, you've got all sorts of shows that you have. You have a glam rock show, a horror show, a rock and roll show. You even do some singing as well, and of course you do a comedy show. And we've actually had some examples of your comedy now.
Yeah.
But Freddie, I'd just like
mine's some light stuff today. Stop it. It's some good stuff.
I'd just like to say congratulations on 25 years. I was going to say 50 years, but it seems like
25 years on
25 years on BBC Radio Cornwall. For me, Saturday wouldn't be Saturday without the Freddy Zapp show. And for anybody who hasn't seen it, all you have to do is go on the BBC iPlayer and you can see this man or hear this man on his show on a Saturday. Freddy Zapp, you're an absolute legend in Cornwall. Thank you so much for talking to me. And it's been nice spending time with you in the Batcave. Thank you very much. When I
stood for elections, my posters used to say, if you're happy, vote Zappy.
I remember that.